Welcome to Small Biz Life, episode 11. Does this sound familiar?
Oh my God, I have so much to do today.
Don't forget to breathe.
But I have almost 400 emails in my inbox and 30 phone calls to make.
Have you looked into getting a virtual assistant yet?
Oh, and I need to schedule all my social media posts.
Did you drink anything today?
I had coffee.
Did you eat today?
Did I mention coffee's a bean?
This is Small Biz Life.
Hey, welcome back. We're so excited to have you for another episode of Small Biz Life. My name's Kristin Ingram. I'm a CPA. I'm a small business advisor, and I am a college professor.
And I'm Jeffrey W. Ingram, and I am an IT professional, and I have dabbled in all sorts of other things.
And you're an author.
An author, yes.
And a fantasy world builder.
I just Facebook messaged my dad with the dedication to my first novel. They were very excited.
That's awesome. That's so exciting.
With my artist this afternoon. Hopefully that will go well.
And it's pound soon, right?
Pound soon. And it's a little behind schedule, I'm afraid, but it will be pound soon.
Yay. That's so exciting. So we're going to start off this episode like we start off each week's episode with what we found in the news this week. So why don't you talk about what you found?
Okay, well, one of my favorite blogs for finding new stuff is from a website called Tech Republic. And one of the categories they have is called 5 apps. And a lot of times there's just neat stuff in there that, especially if you're looking for something specific, it'll give you a few alternatives that you can use. And this week is turning your laptop into a Wi-Fi hotspot.
Ooh.
There are good reasons to do this. You might not want to use your cellular data when you're out and about, and you might be in a scenario where you can only plug in an Ethernet cable. Then you can use that application you've downloaded to turn your laptop into a Wi-Fi spot, and then you can assign your phone or your tablet right into your laptop.
Oh, nice. So what do they suggest?
Okay. So they have a few ones here. One is called Free Wi-Fi Hotspot, and essentially what you need to do is you essentially just turn on the application. You create a name, like it's called a SSID name, and that's the wireless ID. And that way your phone can log into it and you come up with a password for it.
So you could name it like FBI Van 32.
That's right.
Freak people out.
That's right. Stingray Device 32, NSA for life, all kinds of fun stuff to scare the snot out of people who are sniffing Wi-Fi and who are probably not very smart. Because I'm pretty sure if the NSA does that, they probably don't, use goofy names like that, or the FBI, but who knows? They might. All right.
This is the government you're talking about.
It's hard to say. All right. Virtual Wi-Fi router. This one's a little bit more in depth, but not much more. But the good thing is it will allow you to share the connection, but you have a little bit more control over the security of it, the number of peers who are allowed to use it. So potentially, if you're the only one who wants to use it, you might not want to share it out to everyone. You can also limit it to be a local thing. Let's say you're just trying to transfer files from a phone to a computer when you're in your hotel after a big presentation. You could just say no internet. I just want to set this up without internet and go ahead and connect and just throw files back and forth without having to plug it in.
That's pretty useful.
Yeah.
Especially if you want to transfer files between devices.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, no, that's nice.
There's another one called Win Hotspot Wi-Fi Router. This is just another free tool. That's one thing I like is if you do some research, you can get some really powerful free stuff, and everyone's needs are a little bit different. And this will just help you do stuff very cheaply. It's amazing what you can do with free phone apps or free apps for your computer.
But as we said last week, make sure you do your research.
Yes, make sure to do your research.
And get them from a trusted source.
Get them from a trusted source. You don't want to download this from shady bitturret.com. And I don't know if that's really a name, probably not. But This one, the neat thing with this one is it will actually allow you to monitor the bandwidth usage. So if you're in a scenario where there is limited bandwidth and you need a lot of bandwidth because let's say you're downloading that presentation you forgot before you left for your presentation, and you now have to download this great multimedia presentation you've put together, you want to maximize the bandwidth on that one. So if what you're doing is too large, you can actually temper it down. And there are a couple other ones too. Hotspot, very similar to the other ones. Nothing really majorly different with that one. And their fifth alternative is called My Wi-Fi Router. And this actually turns the desktop into an actual wireless router.
Oh, wow.
Much like you maybe have got from your cable company or your internet provider, or you've gone to Best Buy and buy one. But if you need a little bit, but if you need that kind of power and flexibility, this is the way to go. But that's probably a little bit more for advanced users. Some people might not be comfortable actually setting up a Wi-Fi router.
Nice. Wow. I didn't even know those things existed.
The things you can find with Uncle Google.
There you go. I love Uncle Google. So my article this week is about Facebook, and we've mentioned this a couple times on the show before, where we've talked about how Facebook is standing between you as a business owner and your page and the people who like your page. This article is actually from Forbes, and it's called Facebook and the Media Have an Increasingly Landlord-Tenant Style Relationship.
Gee, who's the landlord?
Essentially, what Facebook has done is Facebook has convinced all of these media outlets to come onto Facebook and, you know, share their content there, publish their content there. And some of the publishers have seen their traffic from Facebook plummet by 40% this year.
The recent changes this year? Oh, wow, 40%.
Yeah. So, and these are huge media outlets. You know, these are outlets like BuzzFeed, Time Magazine.
And for someone like BuzzFeed, that's horrible because they're internet only, you know, so that must... Oof.
Yeah, the Huffington Post saw a decline of more than 60%.
Wow.
Yeah, so this is huge. And essentially what Facebook is trying to do is Facebook is trying to get these media outlets and other page owners to pay to promote their posts. So, you know, it's really important that you aren't putting all of your strategy into Facebook.
I think this is what they would say. You need a home base.
Yes, this is why you need a home base, and you need to make sure that you're putting content on that home base and not just on social media. Because as Facebook continues to try to drive up revenue, they are continually throttling down the number of people who see your posts. Another really good way to avoid this issue is rather than having a page, have a group.
Yeah.
You have much more control over the group. You have much more control over the people that can join the group if you do a closed group, and people see your posts.
Yeah.
I think it also creates more of a community.
Well, and that's for now.
For now, right? They haven't started messing with those yet. But for now, you know, it's a great way to interact with people, let people post. You can answer questions, put up content, but you still need to have your own home base.
Yeah.
It's very important. You know, I'm seeing a lot of people now that they're posting videos directly to Facebook, you know, rather than like putting them up on YouTube and then sharing them to Facebook.
I think that's a flawed strategy either way. I mean, I understand people, you know, it seems easier that you can control your, you know, the number of points you're placing things. But with programs like If Then Then That or Zapier, you can do all of that relatively easy. And the thing is, it gives, you know, more people the chance to just stumble by your content, and also helps add links back to websites. It's a good thing.
Right. I mean, that's the thing, is that if you post a video directly to Facebook, that is not searchable outside of Facebook.
Yeah.
So if you put it up on YouTube instead, then it's searchable within YouTube. It's searchable within Google. I have a website where I'm getting over 30,000 visitors a month, and most of my traffic is coming from YouTube and Google searches.
Well, and one of the things too is and people might be shocked to learn this, that a link from YouTube and then it'll push out to Google Plus. Links from there back to your website are actually considered better links than from Facebook back to your website as well. For SEO purposes, for some reason, that seems to help in your Google results.
Yeah, for some reason, Google likes when you put content on YouTube. So one strategy I found that really helped my traffic grow is in each one of my videos on YouTube, in the description, I put a link back to my website.
And I hate because they make them look ugly.
They do. There's no way to make them look pretty. But, I just say, for more information, go to and put a link to the homepage. So at least it doesn't look super terrible. That my traffic's probably been growing since I did that 30 to 40% a month.
And the nice thing is when you start growing your traffic, it feeds itself.
Right. Don't rely strictly on social media. Don't put all your eggs in one basket. Make sure you have your own home base. Because Facebook, right now they're really clamping down on the big media outlets. They've already throttled down, normal page users.
Yeah.
Typically if you have a Facebook page, only about, 6 to 8% of people are going to see it.
My Facebook traffic went to nothing this year. And I didn't have a huge amount because I never put a lot of effort into Facebook. Twitter's always been more my successful medium for targeting my avatar. But my engagement level went down tremendously in Facebook.
Yeah. And that's the thing I found with my pages is that, the engagement has gone to almost nothing. Things I post on Twitter, because Twitter does not control what users see and don't see, that you just, whoever you follow, you get everybody's content.
Yeah.
I think that's why a lot of business people are moving back to Twitter.
Yeah.
You see it during live events. You see it like my Twitter feed is much busier than it's ever been before. So I think people are kind of getting sick of Facebook and how they're being treated because Facebook is really turned into a pay to play model.
Yeah.
And a lot of people just don't have the money to sink into, constant Facebook ads.
Yeah. So, and it takes away from the whole point of organic internet advertising when essentially through this platform, no one sees your stuff.
Right.
And I know they're come up with strange news feeds and stuff like this. And I'm not sure how those are going to work or if they've rolled those out to the general public yet or not, but it's supposed to help get the actual news out there. But who knows?
Well, I mean, it's funny because there are a ton of pages that I like on Facebook that I never see their content.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, there's some pages I don't see anything for. And then I go, I'm like, oh, wow, I see some content. And I click through it and I'm like, oh, I like this page. And I do.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like, I've liked this page for a while.
Oh, who knew? Okay. I didn't.
One thing that you can do if you have a Facebook page is you can encourage people when they like the page to get notifications from your page.
Yeah.
And then they're guaranteed to see it. Now, it doesn't necessarily mean it ends up in their feed.
Yeah.
It means that it shows up in their notifications that you have posted something to the page.
Which, depending on how their phone is set up, might be very annoying.
Yes. Could be very annoying.
Which is typically why I turn that off on my phone. But now, for some reason, the Facebook webpage is now putting notifications through my phone. I'm like, I don't want you to. I have the app. Please, Facebook webpage, don't send me notifications. But
well, I notice sometimes like the app, when you click on something, the app doesn't open up. It opens Facebook in your browser.
And I think that's somehow how my notifications got turned on to my phone. But it's kind of obnoxious. At some point, I'll actually take 5 minutes to turn it off
to fix it. That's my article of the week. We will put links to both of these articles that we talked about today up on the website at smallbizlife.com in the show notes for episode number 11.
Excellent.
I can't believe we're at episode 11.
I know, it doesn't feel like we've been doing it for very long, which we really haven't been, but we have been too. So
yeah, I
mean, it's longer than it feels.
Yes.
It feels like I have so much fun doing that.
Yeah. That's one thing, we get a lot of feedback about our banter and, laughing and stuff. And we have a really good time doing this show. Well,
it was so funny too, because I read that article earlier this week and it completely I read through it. I was kind of, yeah. But so I thought it was very neat that you found the same article and decided to pull the relevance out to it. Where for me, it just is something I happened to read through quickly and it went away.
That's how my brain works.
Mm-hmm.
So
that's why we're a good team.
That's right. That's why we work well. And the banter.
And the banter. It helps having a slightly crazy husband.
It does. It makes things much more interesting. So this week's topic, we are going to talk about cash flow and cash management.
Sorry.
Oh my God, we're going into the realm of accounting. Oh, God help us all. You know, I kind of put some feelers out in some of the groups that I'm in, and people had a lot of questions about cash management and cash flow. So I figured we were going to spend an entire episode pulling that apart today.
Okay, so for me, that just means how much money I make.
Okay, so let's talk about, cash flow is the cash coming into your business and the cash going out of your business. Okay.
I don't like that part so much.
Right. So when you think about cash flow, we're literally talking about the flow of cash in and out of your business and how you manage that cash flow. Because there are a number of things you're trying to do with your business, right? Some of us are just, you're trying to keep the lights on, you're trying to keep the doors open. Some people are trying to grow, and in order to do that, they need to hire employees, but they're not sure, they don't have the cash for that right now.
Or they don't think they do, or they're worried they don't.
Or they're worried they don't. Some businesses are cyclical. Like, my CPA firm is cyclical. About 60% of my revenue comes in during tax season. So what do you do, the rest of the year, in order to make sure that you've got enough money to pay yourself and to, keep the lights on?
Yeah.
Right. And especially if you have employees, how do you handle that? So we're going to talk about 5 strategies for managing your cash today.
Excellent.
Isn't that fun?
I like 5.
I like 5. 5 is a good number.
The theme of today is 5.
There you go.
I feel like a Sesame Street episode. Excellent.
Brought to you by the number 5.
Brought to you by the number 5.
All right. So the first step in cash management is you need to know your monthly and annual expenses. Okay. Because if you don't know what it takes to run your business on a monthly and annual basis, then it's really hard to do any planning at all.
I think especially when you start talking about an annual or quarterly payment type of stuff, those are the ones you forget about until, I've just made that big purchase for that new computer I need that costs $24,000. Oh, wait, I have to pay a bill now. I forgot about that bill.
Well, and it's, it's things like, your quarterly taxes, if you've got annual payments for insurance, or like some of my software renewals are annual, my licensing is annual. And so when you're just doing planning on a monthly basis, you kind of forget like, oh yeah, like my CPA license in Connecticut is $565 a year. Now, normally my monthly expenses are very low, but when that bill comes in, and of course it comes in before tax season starts, you've got to make sure that you've got the funds to pay for that, or else I can't do business.
Even though I do prefer looking at things in a 28-day period instead of a monthly period, just saying.
Well, for personal, I like 28 days better, but for business, I like monthly, right? Because like I bill monthly. So, to look at it on a monthly basis, I think 28 days for a personal budget works if you get paid weekly or biweekly.
I think that would look weird too. Like when you send out your billing, if you owe me $2,200, net 28.
Yeah, that's kind of weird. So you don't want to do that. If you have an accounting system, this is really easy because you can just go through and look at what you spent money on for the last, I would probably do 90 days just to kind of see what filters through your account, and then think to yourself, do you have any annual licenses? Do you have any annual software fees that you're paying? Annual insurance costs? And you can put together a very basic monthly bills list. Okay. And then have an annual list as well with the dates that things are going to come out. We actually have one of those on our personal side and on our business side. And it's really helped me kind of visualize, okay, these are the dates that things need to be paid. I need to make sure that we've got the money for this. So that's been really helpful for us.
And one thing I want to point out too, if you're ever tempted to try out a premium service for a monthly length of time, use your phone and put in a reminder to when you have to choose whether or not you want to keep it. That way, you don't start getting billed for something that you forgot you signed up for and never really even checked out, or you checked out and decided it wasn't for you.
That's actually number 2.
Oh, am I cheating?
You're cheating.
I'm a cheater. Well, for this kind of stuff.
So after you put that list together, that's really going to give you some insight into all the services that you are subscribing to. So number 2, I want you to look through all those services and make sure that you're using everything that you pay for. And if you're not, get rid of them.
And the industrial engineer geek in me wants to say, do a cost benefit analysis for services to say, is the service delivering the value that it cost me before I decide to just keep it because I've been using it for 54 years and I need this service because I've always used it, but I don't no longer get the leads or whatever I'm using the service for.
Right. And the other thing too is to, look back through your services and make sure that there isn't a better deal out there, that there isn't a better service. I know people that have, they have phone plans for their businesses and they're using AT&T or they're using Frontier or they're using the cable company and they're paying like $40 to $60 a month per line.
Uma.
Yes. And a lot of them are still paying for long distance.
Yeah. Oh, what?
Yeah. So, a lot of those clients, like I get them onto something like Uma, which I love our Uma system. It's about $130 for the hardware, but then the basic phone service is less than $4 a month.
For life.
For life. Like basically all you're doing is you're paying the taxes on the line.
I mean, if you want something that's maybe a little simpler, there's another service, Vange. It's a little bit more expensive. Like they have a pretty strong website and stuff like that. It's pretty easy to use. But I don't think Uma's even that hard to learn. I mean, I don't think there's any really learning curve to it.
No, I mean, it's, it's almost like you have this little box that looks like an answering machine.
Yeah.
And we have the residential version. We don't even have the business version.
Yeah. It's
so easy to use. It's just, if you need a basic phone line so that it's there, and you want something to capture your voicemails for an additional $90 a year, you can do call forwarding and, get your voicemails in your email box. And, but even that, I mean, $90 a year is, like $9 a month. Yeah. I mean, that's what you're paying for Netflix, so it's a really good service. I will link to that in the show notes as well. We've been a customer of theirs, I think, for 4 years now.
And this is not an affiliate thing for us either. This is something we just love.
Yeah, this is just something that we really like. And it's nice because it sounds like a normal phone line. Like one of the things I don't like about Google Voice is that when you call the number, it's like, please give your name so that the person knows who's calling. And I'm like, really? It's weird. I don't like it.
It's a little Uncle Google.
It's a little Uncle Google. Yeah. Yeah. Check out Uma.
Yeah.
Less than $4 a month for basic service. It's awesome. Okay. So, review all those services. I mean, I know as I was thinking about the show, I kind of went through and was looking over the services that we're using. And I noticed, Jeff talked about cost benefit analysis. One of the services that I have, I'm only using on one website. It's not a website that gets a lot of traffic. I've got another service that I pay for that's a lot less expensive that I could actually use on that site instead. So I'm going to be canceling one of our services that costs us about $200 a year. And it's just going through and thinking about it and doing that review is going to help us save some money every year. So
what would you say that the average normal phone line costs, like $30?
I would say, from what I'm seeing with my clients that are paying for like traditional phone service, they're paying about $50 a month. And sometimes that's with or without long distance.
So 46 times 12 is $552 a year.
Wow.
That's how much you would save by making that switch. Now, the thing to keep in mind too, if you're making that switch is if you invest this money at 10%, that's like a gajillion dollars after a certain period of time.
Is that your official financial?
That's my official financial analysis. That's probably why people ask you those questions instead of me.
Yeah, because I don't use words like cajillion. Maybe. I don't know. It could be. Tip number 3 is make sure that you have business savings. I like to have about 3 months worth of minimum operating expenses in my account at all times.
Yes.
Now for us, we keep things pretty lean around here. We run the business out of the house, which I'm sure most of you do, especially those of you that I've gotten to know. You're running your businesses out of your house. So a lot of it is like software fees. I try to keep, 3 months worth of my CPA license and things like that in the account. So it's not a tremendous amount of money.
Yeah.
But I like having that there so that if I do have a dip, that I don't have to worry about paying those expenses.
Yeah. Well, I think too, especially for a cyclical company, when you come out of tax season, if you have all of the fees set up so you can do the next tax season by getting your software and getting your stuff, and you just have that sitting there earning probably bad interest, but that's not really the fault. That's just the way it's set up right now. That's all you're going to get is bad interest. But at least you have the safety to be able to know that you can perform that cyclical task next year.
Right. So typically what I do, I love the company that I use for my tax software. They have a special that if you buy your software at the end of tax season, so you're buying next year's software, you save probably about 30%.
And what a clever model too, because there's competition out there that's pretty stiff for them, but you figure they can lock down you for another year right away and you get the benefit of having a better price. They get the safety to know that you're staying another year.
Well, and I'm paying for it when I have a lot of cash in my business.
Yeah.
Right. Where if I'm starting to look, in November, December, that's when things are a little more
lean.
Yeah. So, I get to pay for it early and they know that they've got a customer for next year so that when all of the other, tax software providers start calling me in May and June, I say, oh no, I'm all set. I already have mine. So it's a really good model for them. It saves me money. And then I know that's paid for. So like even now when I'm sitting here and I'm planning the end of the year and what I have to pay for, I know that my largest expense, which is my tax software, is already paid for.
Yeah.
I love that.
And I like it too because it frees up all of the other money to go towards my $24,000 computer.
Yeah, that's never going to happen. Yeah, no.
Okay, I should probably go cancel that order.
Yeah, you might want to do that. Just saying. The other side of business savings is that for those of you that are trying to expand your business, that you want to grow, that you want to hire employees, what I would recommend that you do, especially if you're trying to hire employees, there's going to be a period of time where you're training that employee, where you're getting them up to speed. You're not going to see immediate revenue growth from hiring employees. So what you're going to need to do is you're going to need to figure out, okay, how long does it take for me to hire an employee, get them up to speed so that either my time is freed up that I can go sell more, or the employee themselves is going to start generating revenue for me.
Yeah, and depending on your industry too, there might be some mandatory trainings they have to perform for you before they can start performing anything. So you really have to think that one through.
Right. So say that you think it's going to take 3 months before that employee starts helping you make money. I would have 3 months of their salary put aside in savings before you hire them.
Yeah.
Because then you know that you've got the cash flow to cover this. It's not going to hurt your monthly expenses. And, you know that you're covered. Because the worst thing that you can do, and this will really hurt your business, is if you hire an employee and then you don't have the money to pay them and you have to let them go, especially within the first couple months, because that will get out there. That is a bad experience for them. They will tell everyone that they know. Word will spread, especially if you're a small local business.
Or even for a bigger business now, it's like I go to Glassdoors and look at jobs and people will review the companies they've either interviewed for or worked for. And that probably would not be a positive review.
No. And that would make it harder for you to hire people in the future.
Plus, being late with payments for services rendered might get you in a lot of trouble with your local Department of Labor or whatever they're called in your state. They don't like when you don't pay employees what they're owed.
Yes, that is correct. Business savings can be used to save up for employees that you plan to hire in the future, equipment that you plan to buy in the future. So that would be in addition to the operating expenses that you have, and if you have a seasonal business, then you're going to want to have more than 3 months because, let's say that you're a landscaper and you're landscaping 5 months of the year, then you're going to want to have more money set aside so that you can pay your operating expenses for the 7 months you're not in business.
Yeah.
You really have to make sure that you know your business well, how much, time you can work in your business. At least I know up here, the landscapers that I'm talking to, we've had really good weather. So a lot of them, they were mowing up until a couple weeks ago.
I'm sure they're loving it up here because it's not usually even needed at this point.
Right. So, a lot of my outside contractors are still working, and you figure it's the middle of November. So it's great if you have that extra time, to get more work done.
That's bonus money.
Right. But then remember, a couple years ago, we had a major snowstorm at the end of October, and all of my outside contractors were shut down for the year.
Yeah.
And, it was earlier than expected.
Especially for that storm, really just the season was done for everyone who worked outside, unless you were doing snow removal.
Yes. If you're doing snow removal, then you were quite a happy camper.
Or ice dams.
Yeah. Oh, the ice dams or the ice raking or snow raking or roof raking. And it was crazy. So it might depend how much money you need to set aside based on the cyclical nature of your business. Number 4, you also want to have personal savings. The better you can get your personal financial situation, the easier it is to run your business. So if you have a lot of debt, if you don't have a personal budget, if you don't have any savings, that puts more pressure on you and your business to constantly generate revenue.
Well, I think that, and if you're sitting there, you're more likely to draw money out that otherwise you might use to grow your business. And now you're drawing that money to pay for stuff that you need to pay for, and your business is no longer growing the way you need it to as well.
Right. Exactly. So if you are reliant on all of that profit just to pay your bills and survive, then it's very hard to grow your business because you don't have the resources to do it. So, you want to have 3 to 6 months of personal expenses in a savings account. I know that seems like a tremendous amount of money, but think about, if you have those hills and valleys in your business, if you have, if you don't have any savings and you go through one of those periods of time where you're not generating a lot of revenue for 3 months and then your furnace breaks down.
Yeah.
You're broke. You have no money. So you want to make sure that your personal side is set. And if you're on the fence and you're thinking about, okay, I want to go full-time in my business, I would be working to clean up your personal financial situation as much as you can.
Yeah.
Because all small business is cyclical. It is. A lot of my clients I'm talking to right now, things are starting to slow down a little bit because people are thinking about the holidays. It's a very expensive time for people. So a lot of businesses start to see a downtick right now. So you could be sitting there, if you don't have any savings, you might have a really hard time getting through the next couple months, until we get past the holidays. Yeah. So make sure that you plan for that. Okay. You want to have 3 to 6 months of expenses, not of salary, but of expenses.
Yeah.
And if you don't know what 3 to 6 months of expenses looks like, you can do the same thing on your personal side that we just talked about in item number 1 for your business. Go through, figure out what your minimum monthly expenses are. Okay. And you could do the same thing for personal. It's just as important to make sure that you have a good handle on your personal finances as you do for your business finances.
And I would imagine, and you could correct me if I'm wrong here, most people who are working small businesses, our avatar, are probably, the government sees very little difference anyway. So it's like, the profits just bleed through into your personal side anyway. So it's really the same thing if you're a small business owner.
Yes, your business taxes end up flowing into your personal tax return. That is true. Okay, and number 5 on the revenue side of things, you want to make sure that you are billing in a timely manner and that you are making it easy for your customers to pay you. When I first started my business, I was terrible with billing. I was terrible. Because think about it. So it's tax season, right? You're trying to get all the work out the door by the deadline. And then you want to take some time off. And then I wouldn't be billing people until like the end of May. All right. For work that I did in like, February.
Yeah.
I got really vigilant about making sure that nothing went out the door during tax season without a bill attached to it. And all my cash flow issues disappeared.
And would you say too that not only did all your cash flow, it's like some clients who weren't necessarily great about paying you quickly typically paid you a lot more quickly when the bill went out with the work?
Yes, because I think, what I found would happen is when I drop stuff off, a lot of people just pay me on the spot. Or when they went back to like mail out things that needed to be sent to the government, they go, oh yeah, let me just pay her bill now. Versus, everything's done, everything's signed, everything's filed. And then they get a bill a couple months later. They're like, oh yeah, I'll get around to paying that.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think that definitely helped. I've also been, in the past, I was really resistant to having any sort of, like credit card processing or anything like that. And this year I finally decided, I'm going to give my clients a couple different options on how to pay me. And I found that really helped increase. It not only helped me get paid faster, but I also found that I was able to generate more revenue. Because some people are like, oh, I don't want to work with somebody that I have to pay by check and then I got to mail it and it's a pain. And, now all of my invoicing is done via email and they have options to pay online.
And I think with the younger your audience is, the less likely they want to pay in any traditional form.
Yeah, most of them, young people don't have checks. They just don't.
Or they don't know where they are, or they don't care.
Right. Or they don't have, they don't carry cash. So, I understand, you're going to have to pay fees and there are lots of different options, that you can use to allow people to pay you online or for even face-to-face credit card processing. I mean, all of the major credit card processors now have a device that will plug in, to the headphone jack of your phone or the headphone jack of an iPad and allow people to pay you with credit.
And please, if you are one of these vendors who does shows, have that option available, especially if what you're selling is more expensive.
Yeah, I mean, I've gone to, and I'm pretty terrible about carrying cash too. I've gone to craft shows and absolutely fell in love with something. And I'm like, oh, well, do you take, can I pay with my debit card? No, we don't take debit cards. Yeah. Well, then you just lost out on a sale.
Yeah. And sometimes some of this crafted stuff's expensive. And you're like, that's a $200 piece of wooden thing over there. And I need cash. I don't have cash.
A $200 wooden thing?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's what the Greeks used.
It's a crafty wooden thing, though.
It's a crafty wooden thing. It's like the thing the Greeks used to take over Troy.
All right. So, but that's why I was like, that's why it's $200. So it kind of amazes me when I go to shows and people are selling stuff. I'm talking about like craft shows, trade shows, and they have no way for people to pay other than cash.
I mean, think about this. When you go into stores, retail establishments, what are they always working on? Making it easier for you to give them money, to where you can have tags at gas stations. So you just swipe your tag and you don't have to process a credit card even. It just that having the tag is the thing that allows you to do it. You get Apple Pay or Google Pay or other types of things like those now, where it makes it very simple, very easy for you to spend cash very, very quickly, which is dangerous on a personal side, but it helps people buy stuff.
And I'm even I see this a lot, like restaurants that would typically only take cash, like a lot of like your small pizza places and grinder places, they just have an iPad, and it's bolted to the counter and they put in they swipe your card and you can sign right there and they can email your receipt or
at least be like the other ones who have credit card or ATM machines inside of the store, which ironically now have lower fees than going to banks.
Yeah. I love that. I think that's interesting. So make sure that you're billing bill in a timely manner, and make sure that you make it easy for customers to pay you. I understand, credit card fees, they seem very high, but when you look at the cost of not being able to pay your bills or having to put your bills on credit and then pay interest while you're waiting for your money to come in, those transaction fees really don't seem that high anymore.
No.
So, there's lots of different options. There's PayPal, there's Stripe. QuickBooks has a payment processing system. And the nice thing is that, if you haven't looked at this in a long time, a lot of payment processors, used to have that big bulky machine. They charged you more if, you had to enter people's
merchant accounts.
The old merchant accounts, right? They used to have monthly fees attached. A lot of these new credit card processors, there's no monthly fee. You just pay a percentage of the transaction, and that's it. There's no, most of them will send you, I told you that there's a little thing you can plug into the headphone jack. Most of them will send you that for free.
Yep.
It gives you a lot more options.
Yeah.
Okay. And that's the thing is, like, today we live in a completely mobile world, right? Where we are selling everywhere. So make it easy to do that.
Where I get a text from my nephew saying, "Oh, I'm just sending you cash." Okay. I have to click on something and do something now because you sent me cash via text.
Yeah. I mean, it's crazy, especially if you want a really easy way for people to pay you, you can set up, PayPal has a site called paypal.me. And what that allows you to do is it allows you to set up a very simple URL for people to use with PayPal. So for example, I have paypal.me/KLICPA because that's my website for my CPA firm.
If you want to send Kristin cash, that's the way you do it.
Yeah. If you want to drop me a couple bucks just because you love the show, that'd be fine. But it's easy for me to send to somebody. It's not like some, crazy numbers, letters, URL. I don't have to
question
do a
marks
bit.ly.
with strange series of numbers and letters after them, after the URL. Yeah.
Right, exactly. And then people can just click on that. And the nice thing is that they see my picture, they see, my name, and they see my location. And then they're like, okay, I know this is her.
Yeah.
Right. And then they can pay me. So if you just want something really simple so that people can send you payments, paypal.me is fantastic. And it links right up with your existing PayPal account. So
excellent.
We'll link to that in the show notes as well. All right. So those were your 5 tips, right? So know your expenses, get rid of any services you're not using, have business savings, have personal savings, bill in a timely manner, and make it easy for your customers to pay you.
Excellent.
And I just want to say for the people of online businesses, when you talk about making it easy for people to pay you, don't make people click 12 times to buy something from you.
If you have any circumstance where someone has to click 12 times to buy something from you, pay a web designer, someone who's good at user interface to fix your website.
Right. Because every click that somebody has to make to get through, okay, I'm on your homepage and I've got to click to your products, and then I've got to click to the product that I want, and then I have to click the buy button, and then I have to confirm that I want to buy, and then I've got to log into your website, and then I've got to put in my information,
Do a
and then I've got to click again to go to PayPal. Every time somebody has to make a click, you lose people.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, you lose a percentage of your buyers. Make it very easy. If you have like a signature product, there should be a button on your website that says buy now for that signature product. They're right in the shopping cart and you're pushing them through to buy.
Or how clever is Amazon with Prime? One-click shopping. It's all set up for you. Just click whenever you want something.
That's dangerous.
Oh, yes.
One click is very dangerous. Okay. But it's good for you if you're a business owner.
Yes.
Okay. So make it really easy for people to buy. The best ones I've seen is that, you click the buy button and it's literally, it brings you right to PayPal and you see the item that you want to buy. You log in with your PayPal account and you're done.
Yeah. And it might be a little bit more expensive to set it up through PayPal but if it increases the amount of traffic you are using to generate revenue, that's good.
Yes, that is a good thing. and if you have any questions about this, feel free to post something in the Small Biz Life community on Facebook. You can find it by going to smallbizlife.com and clicking on the Facebook icon, or you can go to facebook.com and search Small Biz Life Community.
Excellent.
Okay. So what is your tip of the week, Jeffrey?
All right. So we're back to evil malware. And the tip of the week are a type of malware attack is social engineering. It's trying to trick you to perform a task, and it is a pop-up alert. And there are a couple different ways you might do it. A clever website that has a malicious code on it might pop up something near your clock. Or sometimes they get bad starter, like download software into an ad. They'll get it into an ad, and then you just have to go on a page. It'll download it automatically on your computer if your antivirus doesn't catch it. And it will create a pop-up, and it goes, we hate malware, has found 5 issues with your computer. Click here. And some aren't as good as other ones, but the thing is they try and use language to get you to panic, to press the button to stop whatever's wrong. And the problem is when you do that, you actually just give them permission to actually work on your computer, and they will download all kinds of stuff depending on the type of malware you're getting. But they will then download what, we call in the business the payload to do its task on your computer. Mm-hmm. And so social engineering attacks in general are ones that they try and get around the security of your system by getting you to perform an action, and it's usually clicking on a button.
Right. So typically you see those, like Jeff said, either by the clock, and it'll look like your antivirus is popping up to tell you to do something, or your computer's popping up. I'm also seeing them a lot if you mistype a website.
Windows?
You get this page and it's like, oh my God, we found something on your computer, and it'll beep, some of them beep at you. Yeah. And the only way to close them down is to, on Windows machine, is Control-Alt-Delete out of it. You have to close the browser.
In the task.
Yep. So, and those, I've gotten calls from clients like, I don't know what to do. It's telling me to call this phone number. Don't call the phone number.
Yes.
Just Control-Alt-Delete.
Anytime you're told to call a phone number because of some problem, do research on the phone number to make sure it's even real, because that's a very common way. In a later tip, we'll get into that though.
But so, be very, very wary of anything popping up on, your machine, especially, make sure that you know who your antivirus software is, so that if, you see something pop up that's not your antivirus software, that you're aware of it.
Yeah. And if someone's telling you for whatever reason to call a phone number through a pop-up or through an email, don't use that number. Go to the known website for the entity. Let's say it's from your bank. Go to their website, look up the customer care number, either verify it's the same number, or don't use the one in the emails automatically, because that's a very common way. And that will actually be a later tip, so I don't want to get too much into that.
Okay, then I won't do that.
So you're unsafe until the next tip.
Dun, dun, dun. Well, I'll make people listen next week, I guess. Okay, this week's app of the week, it's a series of apps. If you do not have an accounting system for your business, you need to get one. I really like the cloud-based accounting systems because you can access them from anywhere, your smartphone, your laptop, your desktop.
I like the wife-based ones, but they're very expensive.
Yes, the wife-based ones are very expensive. God, you're so weird. So 3 of the major players in the field are QuickBooks Online, Xero, and Wave. Wave is actually free, which is kind of nice. So if you're trying to dip your feet into it, QuickBooks Online and Xero both have 30-day free trials. Xero has a lot of companies actually interface with Xero. There's a lot of third-party vendors that you can work with that will interface with Xero. QuickBooks Online is still the standard because most accountants know it. They're familiar with the product. They've worked with QuickBooks Desktop or QuickBooks Online. So, that's one of the problems with Xero and Wave is that accountants that aren't technologically savvy don't know about them. But all three of these are great. They're great programs. There's also another player in the market that's called FreshBooks. My only issue with FreshBooks is that it doesn't do cash management. So all three of these other programs will help you with cash management. And that's why I don't recommend FreshBooks because it does not have that feature. They told me that they're working on it, that it's in their line of sight, but we haven't seen it yet.
Yeah.
So if you're interested in more cash management, either QuickBooks Online, Xero, or Wave can help you with that.
Excellent.
Okay, and I'll have links to all three of those pieces of software in the show notes. In fact, because I'm a QuickBooks Pro advisor, I actually have discounted prices on QuickBooks Online.
Oh, cool.
So if you go through, you do the 30-day free trial, you like it, you decide this is what you want to do, you can go to smallbizlife.com. You can click on either the links for episode 11, or you can go to the resources page, and I've got links to my discounted pricing for QuickBooks Online.
Oh, very cool.
Either that or you can reach out directly to me through the contact page.
Or through the community.
Yep, or through the Facebook community. So lots of different ways you can reach out to us. So I hope that this week you will start looking at your cash management. You will look at the budgeting for your business. And if you don't have an accounting system, now is a really good time to put that in place so that you've got it going for tax season.
And I truly hope this week that you also remember coffee is delicious in the morning, but does not count as breakfast.
But coffee's a bean. And beans are good for you.
Uh-huh.
Especially when you take coffee beans and you dip them in chocolate. That's food.
That I would actually count as food.
Okay.
Or peanut M&Ms.
Well, peanuts are a bean. So yeah, okay, that works. I was trying to figure out how that worked, but it does. It works. So I hope you enjoyed the show this week. I know we were a little goofy, but we think that small business should be enjoyable. And even though, we get in the weeds and we get into details, we want you to have fun listening to our show.
Because one, if you don't have fun in small business, you shouldn't be doing it.
Right. It's too much work to not have fun. So we hope that you have a great week, and we will see you again next week. Thank you for listening to Small Biz Life. If you enjoyed the show, please take a few minutes to rate and review the show on iTunes or Stitcher. Please visit smallbizlife.com to view today's show notes, take this week's poll, join the Facebook community, follow us on Twitter, or submit a question for the mailbag. Support the show by checking the resources page or by going to smallbizlife.com/Amazon whenever you shop.
This was Small Biz Life. This was Small Biz Life.